Hey there, welcome back to That's a Wrap. This is the show where I run through all the games, comics, movies, and TV shows that I have watched for the given month. So, we made it to the end of 2021. Been a bit of a wild year for me. It moved, going to be moving again at the beginning of January, or probably more so the end of January. Hopefully to a more permanent living situation. I've been hopping apartments for so many years that it's going to be nice to eventually move into a townhouse and kind of settle in and hopefully plant my feet for a while in one location. So I'm really looking forward to that. But this year in the world of entertainment was pretty fun. I really dedicated a lot of time this year, obviously, to slowly trying to get back into making video content on YouTube, but also just consuming more stuff in general, because I found myself at the beginning of this year really only playing games, and then 2019 and 2020 really only watching movies. So I've been trying to find a balance, and I think for 2022 I have a good goal. And for me, that goal is to play at least one game a month, and which obviously I'm going to destroy that because I like consuming smaller, shorter indie games, so that's going to be pretty easy. I want to try and read one book a month, not manga, but like a novels, and at least one movie a week or so. That's probably a lot to ask, but we'll see. And movie, TV show kind of falls in the same category, more or less. But that's looking forward. Looking back, December was pretty good. I played a ton of games, read a lot of manga, watched a fair deal of movies, comparatively speaking, to months previous, and I watched a little bit more TV than I normally do, so kind of makes sense given that the holidays were around and I spent a lot of time inside. But yeah, so without further ado, let's get into the games I played this month. So on December 4th, I played the super cute Toem. Now, this is definitely one of my underrated games of the year. I know it's been received well, but I don't really see too many people talking about it. I know within my circle and the content I consume online is a little bit more hardcore gamer, and people are giving the game justice. But for the wider video game industry, I don't really see a lot of people talking about it. It's really fun. You go around taking pictures, all to experience this event called Toem. And I just had a really good time with it. Super charming, short enough to consume in a sitting or two, deep enough that if you want to platinum it, like I did, I got the platinum. When was it? December 4th. That's when I popped the platinum. I feel like there's enough substance there that you can really dive into it and have a really good time. Plus, it's super charming. And then on December 9th, I popped the platinum for Coffee Talk. It's funny, I really didn't know this game existed until I saw, what's his name, Mystic? I think he used to go by Mystic Ryan, YouTube or PlayStation content creator. I watched his 30 platinums in 30 days or something to that effect. And this was one of the games he played, and I was like, oh, okay, well, this seems kind of up my alley. I've never heard of this. And come to find out, my girlfriend knew about this, and she'd been wanting to play it. We didn't end up playing it together, but I did sit down over the course of a couple nights and bang this one out. This was a pretty fun game. It kind of lives within that middle ground of, what do you call it, visual novel and interactive visual novel. I don't. It's not like the cheap platinums, and I've had a few of those this year, where the trophy pops after you just hold down R1 or whatever. This is a little bit more involved. In order to get the platinum, you have to go through and actually do a few side modes and things like that. But it was a really fun story. I had a really good time with it. It involves werewolves and vampires and aliens, and all takes place in Seattle, someplace I've never been, but I've always wanted to visit. So I was super into it. It was really fun, really relaxing, and I think you guys should check it out if you get the chance, if you're into visual novel-y kind of games. And I guess I can talk about these both at the same time because they were pretty easy games to platinum. One of them was called Finger Fitness. Popped that on December 10th. And then the Pig D I popped on December 11th. Ever since getting into playing games this year, I've really jumped into collecting platinums. And sometimes I find some of these cheapo games on the PlayStation Network, and I know they're going to be easy to get the platinums on, and that's not the point. It's more so that it's interesting and just kind of unique. And Finger Fitness was definitely a unique game. You used the triggers on the PlayStation or the DualSense controller, and because it has the haptics built into it, it's almost kind of like you're working at your index fingers pulling those triggers. And I just thought it was kind of cute and unique idea, and I felt like it would be at home on my PlayStation list. And the Pig D, that's more so a clicker kind of game. If I remember correctly, I think you just hit the X button and put pennies or coins into a piggy bank. And it was funny, but definitely not worth the $1 or something I spent on it. But to boost up that PlayStation level, along with my total platinum count, it was worth it. Then on December 22nd, I finished Phoenix Wright Ace Attorney. I've been playing through the Trilogy collection on the PlayStation, and I've been having a really good time with it. I admittedly have used a guide to help me every once in a while because I get stuck, and it's been really fun. I missed these games back when I think it was early 2000s. They were on the Game Boy Advance, I think. I should double check, but I'm pretty sure it was the Game Boy Advance. So I totally missed them back when I had my Advance. I knew about them, but I just never really gave them the time of day. So I saw the Trilogy on sale on PlayStation. It was probably a couple weeks ago. Whatever their last sale was, not the one currently going on as of now, the holiday sale. But I saw it going on, and I was like, oh, you know what? Let's give it a try. Let's see what it's like. And I'm loving it. I'm surprised how long it's taking me. I thought these games were pretty short. Nah, they're pretty long, especially if you goof up on some of your deliberation during the trials. Fun characters, unique gameplay, kind of visual novels / actual investigation, trial, defense attorney stuff. So it's really fun. If that sounds like it's something you'd be interested in, go check it out. Next up, on December 29th, I got the platinum for Creature in the Well. I actually played this game in 2020. Yeah, the beginning of 2020. And I had a really good time with it, but I played it on the Xbox. Didn't get 1,000 points. Got really close. I think I got held up by 2 achievements or something like that, and I decided not to try and get the 1,000 points on it. So, this time around, I definitely made sure I got those achievements or those trophies. And so by the time I got to the end of the game, I was able to get that platinum pop. This is a really cool game where you play as a robot diving into this mountain, and you're trying to help out this village that's been ravaged by a continuous sandstorm. And inside this mountain, there's obviously this big monster or creature who got in there through a well, hence the name. And inside this mountain, there's this big machinery, a big machine basically with multiple parts that has created this weather, created this sandstorm, and it's your job to turn this machinery back on and kick this creature out of the well and save this town, save this village. It's really cool. Really unique game. It's kind of Pong modernized. It sounds weird, but Pong / baseball. It's very confusing to describe. But when you start playing it, and even when you see it, it doesn't make too much sense. But when you start playing, you're like, okay, this makes sense. This is really cool. And there's a reason I played it for a second time on PlayStation. I could have easily avoided it and ignored it, but this was really fun, and I had a great time platinuming it. And then on the last day of the year, December 31st, 2021, I got my 41st and final platinum for 2021. And that was from Carrion. Another game that I actually played in 2020 on the Xbox and got, again, much like Creature in the Well, got really close to 1,000 pointing, or getting 1,000 points on. Again, there was 1 or 2 achievements that I just didn't pop, and when I went back and tried to clear them out, I got confused or lost my direction as to where I was going, so I was like, you know what, whatever, I'm not going to worry about it. And again, another example of a game that is really good, a really fun indie hit. The cool thing about this game is looks like it's inspired by the movie, like the classic horror movie The Thing, but instead of playing as the survivors, you're playing as the monster itself, trying to destroy and kill everyone in this facility and break your way out. And it's so fun collecting the power-ups in this Metroidvania kind of backtracking system. It's really, really fun. I had a really good time with it, and it really has kind of encouraged me to go and seek out more of these Metroidvanias that I've really been ignoring for quite some time. So who knows, maybe I'll go check out Axiom Verge and Hollow Knight and Guacamelee and a few of these other titles that I've been avoiding. Maybe even Metroid Dread. I don't know. We'll see. But I have to finish Super Metroid, I think. I was in the middle of playing through Super Metroid last year, or this current year, 2021. So maybe I'll finish that in 2022. We'll see. Next up, hopefully we can get through this pretty quickly. I really only read 3 series of manga this month. No comics. I was planning on reading the 3rd volume of The Witcher comic, but I ended up putting that to the side because I got really sucked in and invested in these 3 series. First off, we'll start with One Piece, the seemingly never-ending series that I've been slowly chipping away at for the better part of 2 years. So this month I finished volume 65 and 66 and made my way on to volume 67. And that's, so far I've read this month I read chapters 637 through 659. Finished up the Fishman arc as soon as after the time skip. So I finished the Fishman arc, and I've just started the Punk Hazard arc. Really cool so far. They're introducing the samurai. I don't remember what they're called. It's really cool to see how everyone has advanced in the past 2 years. The only character that I still can't get over the redesign of is Frankie. Really weird. I know they leaned more into his cyborg thing, but it's still taking me a lot to get used to. Everyone else kind of seems like they make sense, but he's the one that just it's just really weird to me. But nonetheless, I'm enjoying it, and I'm really excited to see what Punk Hazard has in store. And then I also finished Gantz Omnibus, Volume 6 and Volume 7, and that encompasses Volume 16 to Volume 21, if you were to break it up, because the omnibuses, I think it's Omnibuy, have multiple volumes within each omnibus. Mouthful. But that was chapters 179 to 247 of Gantz. I don't know how to describe it other than this whole series is a fever dream. There's vampires now. The everyday people on Earth can see the characters in the black suits. Gantz itself in the black orb. It looks like it's playing games on people. Our main character, he got 100 points, brought his girlfriend back to life, brought himself out of Gantz, and it looks like, I've already read it so I know what happens, but it looks like we're driving towards him being brought back in. And the last thing that was happening at the end of Omnibus 7 was that, I can't remember where it was, I think it was Osaka. Our main characters were sent to Osaka instead of being in Tokyo where they normally are, and the Osakan contestants, people in the black suits there, are batshit wild and are handling this whole situation a little bit differently than our main characters. So really interesting. I love this series to death. This is one of the few series I actually do collect physically. I used to have a pretty extensive manga collection, and then I went through and cleared it all out just to kind of pick and choose my series that I want to collect physically. One Piece has been a digital manga. I read it through the Shonen Jump app, but Gantz, mainly because it's not digital, but also because they're really cool to have the omnibus of. I've been collecting that physically. And then finally, I read the first volume of YuYu Hakusho, just chapters 1 through chapter 8. Not too much. I really don't know too much about Yu Yu Hakusho. I watched some of it back in the day when it was on Toonami in the early 2000s, but I only caught episodes occasionally because it wasn't really, at the time it wasn't really my cup of tea, but it's kind of cool. I knew the main character, I think his name's Yusuke? No, I could be getting it mixed up. I can't remember now. It shows how much I remember. the main character, he ends up dying and then making a deal before he's sent to hell, or before his spirit leaves his body, and says, hey, if you are good and you're able to do good deeds and hatch this creature, to give him an egg, you can go back to your body. So that's what this whole first volume is about him doing good deeds, being a good dude, but also being a little edgy and being not being quite himself. So, or at least quite him, not living up to his usual self that we were introduced to in chapter 1. So really cool. I'm looking forward to continuing on with the other volumes. I'll probably pick up volume 2 next month. I've just been reading it on my iPad, so that's probably where I'm gonna jump into that. As for movies I watched this month, a lot of Christmas/holiday movies. Go figure. My girlfriend and I really were in the holiday spirit, so we decided to watch a few of them together. We started off our holiday viewing extravaganza with Frosty the Snowman. This is the short film, I guess you could say, from 1969. It was a classic that I watched when I was a kid. I grew up with this movie. I watched it many, many times. And it's where the classic line, "Happy birthday!" comes from. And my brother and I used to say that to each other all the time. And make fun of it, admittedly, because the movie is not great. but it is still a fun time. I had a fun time viewing that. And that was on December 12th, by the way. So I hadn't watched any movies up until December 12th. Then the following day, on December 13th, we watched Jingle All The Way. That is my personal favorite holiday movie. I know a lot of people don't think it's that great, but there's just something about that movie that has so much charm, with Arnold Schwarzenegger playing the lead, Sinbad playing anti-hero kind of. He's not really an anti-hero, he's the antagonist. And then seeing young, what's his name? Young Anakin Skywalker. I can't remember the actor's name. But it's really cool to see all of them in this movie. And I really resonated with this film ever since I was a little kid. Like I said, I watched it annually with my brother for years and years and years. So this is definitely a movie I hold near and dear to my heart. Then on December 19th, we watched Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer from 1964, a little bit earlier than Frosty the Snowman. It's funny because on the 22nd, I'm going to lump these two together, we watched The Year Without a Santa Claus, and that was from 1974. So Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer and then Year Without Santa Claus, we watched pretty close to each other. But I think my girlfriend and I merged these two movies together because we both remembered bits and pieces from each one of them. Obviously, Rudolph, I can't remember the character's name, but he wanted to be the little elf that wanted to be a dentist. And then you had Rudolph, but then you also had reindeer involved in A Year Without Santa Claus, but then you also had the hot and cold guys, which again I'm forgetting their names, but I think both of us mixed these two movies up because we were both watching Rudolph and we're like, where are the hot and cold guys? Aren't they in this? And then we also remembered that the Yeti guy, he befriended them, but we thought it was in a different way. But then we watched Year Without Santa Claus and we were like, where's Rudolph in this? So I think we just combined these two movies. I hadn't seen either one of these movies in probably the better part of, probably 15 years, 16 years. Probably back when I was 12, 13, I saw these. So it's been a long time. It's been a very long time since I've seen these movies. But they're still fun. Cheesy stop motion animation, clearly wires visible holding some of the characters up during the flying scenes, charming as all hell, but it's pretty aged. Then on Christmas Eve, December 24th, my brother and I went to go see Spider-Man No Way Home. First time in a little bit since I've been to the theaters. I think I went last month to see something. I can't remember what it was, but I love this movie. By far the best Spider-Man, in my opinion. I know a lot of people, especially people my age, almost 30, who have huge admiration for the Tobey Maguire movies. I love Spider-Man 1 and Spider-Man 2 and even Spider-Man 3. They were all really fun. Of course, they got worse as time went on, but I look back at them with rose-tinted glasses. They were really fun. The Andrew Garfield ones, I saw Amazing Spider-Man 1, never saw Amazing Spider-Man 2. And then the Tom Holland movies, I think Marvel has just hit their stride, and I think they're really, really pumping out some good content. Absolutely loved the new Spider-Man movie. No spoilers for anything. Don't think it's time yet, but if you have not seen it yet, go check it out, because this is a fantastic movie. And I won't admit, I won't deny, it did make me cry. It was really good. It was really powerful. And if you love Spider-Man and if you love Marvel, go check it out. And then to wrap up the year, I saw The Matrix 1, the original, on December 31st. Now, I did really want to watch Matrix Resurrections, but I hadn't seen the first probably in closer to 20 years than 15. So it has been a very long time since I've seen The Matrix. And I'd never seen the second or third movies. And you know what? I'm like, well, hang on. I'm going to go pick up the fourth movie at some point. It's probably not going to be in theaters by the time I get around to it, but I definitely do want to see it. But I feel like I should fill in my knowledge of the Marvel. I feel like I should fill in my knowledge of the Matrix movies previously before hopping into this one. You know, I'm surprised how much it actually holds up. There are areas that I'm like, okay, that CGI is pretty bad, but it's kind of endearing nowadays. I'm sure at the time it was like, oh my god, that's awesome. It's it's kind of hard to compete with what we're seeing today, especially with something like Spider-Man No Way Home, which had fantastic CGI. But this this movie had some pretty rough spots, but it's all in like a fun early 2000s 1999 kind of way. So I'm really looking forward to seeing the rest of the movies and seeing the fourth one. Kind of been keeping my eyes and ears away from any spoilers and anything that the movie's about. So really want to go into it as blind as I can. And starting with the original Matrix is a good way to do that. Next up, for TV shows that I finished in December, on December 10th, my girlfriend and I finished Season 5 of Big Mouth. If you are familiar with Big Mouth, it's more of the same. Gross out, puberty humor, growing up kind of thing. It's interesting knowing her. This is really a show that I'm surprised she likes, but she likes Nick Kroll, the guy behind it, along with some of the other voices in the show. And there's a lot of big characters, a lot of big names in this show. And it took me a little while to get into it, but I'm here for it. Season 5 was really good. It's a bummer. We'll probably have to wait a little while longer for Season 6, if it happens at all. I haven't seen if it's been confirmed or not, but it was really fun. A lot of stand-up moments, one of which was seeing Santa give the pipe to Mrs. Claus. So that was very unique. I still bring it up just to mess with my girlfriend, so because she didn't like that part, but I thought it was hilarious. So yeah, really out there, bizarro humor, but it is a really funny time. And then on December 27th, I watched the new Hawkeye show. Super stoked to see everything that's being reintroduced. Not say what, because that just came out. Not going to spoil anything, but seeing things that are being reintroduced into the Marvel universe. Really excited to see and kind of tie things together. There's a tie between this movie, maybe, this movie, and the new Spider-Man movie. Even if it's loosely and it's being redefined, there's still something there. So I'm really excited to see where they take Hawkeye as a character, where they take the things that they've established in this first season as additions to the Marvel universe. And I have Marvel fever right now. I just can't get enough of it. I know next year there's going to be a ton of Marvel stuff put on our plates, and you know what? I'm all here for it. And so to wrap up this month, let's take a look at the upcoming video game releases for January 2022. Kind of a short list this month, mainly because either not much announced or just not really too much coming out in January. You kind of push things out to February, March, April. Leading into the middle of the year is usually when you get bigger releases, but there's a few things. First up, on January 6th, we have Demon Gaze Extra coming to Nintendo Switch and PlayStation 4. January 12th, Monster Hunter Rise coming to Windows. January 13th, Astroneer coming to Nintendo Switch. January 14th, this one's a big one, God of War coming to Windows. Now, I've already played God of War. This is the new God of War. I played this on PS4 back in the day. I know they released a PS5 patch for the PS4 version, so it can run at 60 FPS and things like that. But I don't see myself getting it on Windows, mainly because my hardware is fine, minus my GPU. My GPU is the only thing holding me back. And because we live in the world we do, GPUs are ridiculously expensive, and it's hard for me to justify getting a new GPU, especially for a game that I already have on a different platform that I can play at 60 FPS. So that's that's kind of where I'm at. That's why I'm kind of on the fence about whether or not I should pick it up. Probably won't. But for those of you who've been wanting to play God of War on the PC, now's your chance. Then on January 20th, we have RP Golf Legends. That's a funny name. I like that name. Coming to Windows, Nintendo Switch, PS4, and the Xbox One. Tom Clancy's Rainbow Six Extraction, almost said Siege, Extraction, coming to Windows, PS4, PS5, Xbox One, the Xbox Series systems, and Stadia. And then lastly, Windjammers 2 will be coming to Windows, Nintendo Switch, PS4, Xbox One, and Stadia. On January 27th, Gunvolt Chronicles Luminous Avenger IX2? Assuming that's how I say it. Coming to Windows, Nintendo Switch, PS4, PS5, Xbox One, and the Xbox Series systems. And then finally on January 28th, two bigger releases of the month, arguably, at the end. One of them is brand new, one of them is a re-release. But first, we have Pokemon Legends Arceus. No, probably never know how to say it. Pokemon Legends Arceus coming to Nintendo Switch. I'm really excited for this. I have to go back and play Diamond. I downloaded Pokemon Diamond, and I'm thinking that's what the video is playing in the background, if I'm not mistaken. So that's one thing I'm really excited for, is a new take on the Pokemon series. I know it's been morphing a little bit over time. Diamond is obviously more of the original kind of thing. Let's Go went a little bit more different, and then Pokemon Legends here is seemingly going open world. If I had to guess, and I've been intentionally avoiding any spoilers or any kind of extra videos I don't really want to see, or any trailers or anything, but it looks like that we're going in a Monster Hunter direction, where you have open zones that you can connect to, kind of like the wild area in Pokemon Sword and Shield. So interesting to see how this is going to evolve and see what it's going to take a final form of when the game comes out on January 28th. And then lastly, Uncharted Legacy of Thieves Collection is coming to PlayStation 5. If I'm not mistaken, if you have either Uncharted 4 or The Lost Legacy, I believe you can upgrade for $10 to the PS5 versions of both. But it could also be that you need Uncharted 4 and The Lost Legacy in order to upgrade to the PS5 version. I don't remember exactly what the stipulations are, but I know that there is a $5 upgrade path, which I'm going to take, because I started Uncharted 4 years ago when it first came out, never finished it, and now that I've already replayed Uncharted 1 to 3 during this year, I'm really looking forward to going back and playing through Uncharted 4 and Lost Legacy on the PS5 now. So, be a cool way to wrap up the Uncharted series as it is now. Maybe we'll see more in the future, but this is a nice little package that we can play all of the more recent titles on. So there it is. That is 2021 all wrapped up. I'm really looking forward to doing 12 of these videos over the course of next year. I really have been enjoying this. I know it's not a lot of content, but there are more video ideas that I have in mind for next year. And definitely, it's not going to be like it used to be, but it's a fun outlet. I really do enjoy going back and editing this and sharing my thoughts and sharing releases and things I've played and things I'm interested in with everyone. So hopefully you guys all enjoy this. Let me know what you thought of December in the comments down below. Did you play anything fun, read anything interesting, or watch anything exciting? Let me know. So, for one last time of 2021, I want to thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.